Conversations with the Citizen. I'm your host, Tia Carol Jones. I'm here today with Neishe Russell, Phil Weatherspoon, the co-founders of On the Nine Run Crew, and Ashley O'Shea, a community member with On the Nine Run Crew. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
for having us.
Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Want me to start?
Yes, I
Okay. For the ladies. Well, I'm Phil Weatherspoon. I'm born and raised Chicago, and I grew up in Hyde Park. And I got into running probably about 5 years ago. And I discovered a run crew. There's not a lot of black run crews in the South Side. And so I was running with one particular group. And after a couple of years, that group ended up disbanding. And myself, as well as Neishe, we came together and we were just saying we wanted to provide that outlet on the South Side and continue to have a running presence here. And so a year ago, we founded On the Nine Run Crew.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Neishe. So I was also born and raised in Chicago. I took up running in high school. I ran cross country, and then, of course, well, not of course, but I stopped after getting married and having a family. Then when I had my last child, I wanted to start back running. I got me some running shoes, went out on the trail, started running, and discovered I cannot run. I can no longer run, and so I just started with a run walk program and just was self-motivated, thankfully, to just get back in there because I was seeing so many runners out just running, and I stopped it. And the fact that I could not run longer than 30 seconds to a minute was just so baffling when I used to could do it when I was in high school. So I think like in your mind, you think you can do something. So anyway, I just kept running, and then one day I just kept going, and I just, kind of like that Forrest Gump, one day I just wanted to run, and just kept running. So that's what running has been ever since. And as Phil said, we originally were with another run group, and basically we didn't have any runs, and we enjoyed coming together weekly and running with each other, and we didn't want to lose that, and we didn't want to lose those bonds and friendships that we created, and so we kept with it. I came up with on the 9 term. Well, I didn't come up with that term, but often in the South Side of Chicago, we find people referring to 79th Street as on the 9. And so that represents South Side, and we are a South Side running group and crew, and we venture out to various South Side neighborhoods running. So we felt that name encompassed that as well. So I've been running ever since, and then we have Ashley.
Yeah, so I'm Ashley O'Shea. I am not from Chicago. Please don't kick me out. But I've been here for a decade now, so I feel like I'm and I've been running for also about a decade now. I have always kind of dabbled in different fitness spaces, but when I was in college especially, I was like, well, running is a free activity that I can do outside and still stay active. And after I started my professional career, I started to get more into doing races specifically, and I started with the 5K and then kind of kept graduating up and up and up with a friend of mine, and then I was also part of the run community here, and I felt that really helped to keep me motivated and encouraged. And I do live on the west side now, but I do come out south specifically just to come to On the 9. I think it's really important, especially for South Side communities, to have a third space where they're able to commiserate and get active, but also have community. And so they've been a really wonderful support, especially as I ran my first marathon last year. That's definitely not something you can do without community. So yeah, grateful to be in the space.
So why did Neishe, why did you Phil, Tessa, and Daniel want to start On the Nine Run Crew?
like I was saying, I didn't want that relationship that we had running every week to dissolve. We have been running every single Saturday for at least 2 years together, and we were just kind of sitting around like, well, are we gonna run? Because we completed our marathon. Everyone basically ran the marathon for the Chicago Marathon. We were done with the training, and then we had Thanksgiving, and it's like, okay, we gotta start running again. And we do run all year round. So we just said we're gonna do it. Name it on the 9. Let's just do it. So that's why we started. Did you want to add anything?
Really, also just being able again to have a community space, and also being able to appreciate the beauty on the South Side.
Yes.
When you're able to run through your community, you can see things that you're not going to notice when you're driving. Oftentimes, infrastructure, you look at sidewalks, you look at street lamps, you look at streets are paved, but also just discovering a lot of the parks and green spaces that we have on the South Side that can be underutilized. So it's just great to bring people to those areas as well.
Yes, that's what I love most about running on the South Side, because so often I feel like we have like a stigma, like a negative one, and there's a lot of beauty on the South Side of Chicago. We come across it a lot. We run through various neighborhoods, and I'm really excited about that the most. I'm excited about the opportunity. Like when we run in the community, we often get stopped by people saying, "Hey, good job, keep going. How many miles you run?" And they want to support us and follow us on our Instagram, and it also motivates them. And that's what's very important for me too, as a registered nurse. I do want to see people moving. I know cardiac disease is one of the #1 killers in women, and especially in black men. We have a lot of black men with hypertension. We need black men to come out and start moving. So we do have some black men too, and non-black men also running with us every week. So that movement and being healthy and showing everyone else that movement is possible and being healthy at almost any age. We have early 20s. I'm 45. We go up into the 50s. So anybody can come run with us.
Thank you for, you said 20-year-olds like Jesse. I'm nowhere close to that, but I really appreciate the nod. We pulled a couple of people. But even to add, we've also used our community to even go to different local businesses on the South Side as just a way to feature those businesses and again form those relationships.
Right. One of our favorite spots that we do go to is Carbon 47, right on 47th and Greenwood. Liz is a very accomplished opera. She sings opera and jazz. I believe she's Googleable. Is that a word? So yes, and her partner, a part of that area, I think it's called Black Joy, is connected, and they also Little Black Pearl, Little Black Pearl, and her name is Monica, and she also is in the community doing good things over there. So we're proud of it. We have our wonderful President Obama lives home not too far away. We like to run down that street as well. It's a good community.
Yeah.
And so, Phil, you were talking about this earlier. Before we started, On the 9 Run Crew just celebrated its first year.
Yes.
How has the Run Crew grown since it started last February?
I would say certainly by leaps and bounds. When we first started, and also to acknowledge the Citizen newspaper for featuring us during our actual launch back in February. I don't know why we launched at like one of the coldest. We were all freezing then. We were freezing during our anniversary. Freezing. But it just shows the dedication of the people wanting to commune with us and have community. And we certainly wanted to, I'm sorry, repeat your question one more time.
How has the Run Crew
Has it grown?
Yeah.
So we have grown, it used to start with just us, just a few of us running together.
Yeah.
But through Instagram, through word of mouth, and also the partnerships that we build with some of the local businesses that we've been able to run from, as well as the running organizations that we've been able to be a part of and have presence with as well. We have an official cheer section for the Chicago Marathon. We are also a recognized partner of the Bank of America Running Series as well. So us being able not only to grow and have people from the community follow us, even people from other communities coming to Chicago to follow. You have people from the north side that come in and run with us as well. But it really has been just an amazing journey to see all these people just come and build this community with us.
Yes, and then recently we were awarded the Bank of America Chicago Business Series Bids for Equity program. So we were able to give people who've never ran a organized race before, or the Shamrock Shuffle, for instance. We're gonna have Ashley. She actually received a bid to run in the Shamrock Shuffle, and that's gonna be March 23rd. And then we also have some bids for the Bank of America Half Marathon, as well as the Bank of America Full Marathon. So we're able to give those out. We're really excited to see some people do their first full marathon. We had a couple people do their first full marathon last year and complete. We were able to set up a cheer station at around mile 23 over on 39th and Indiana.
35th and Indiana.
And so we had a big our run crew and some 7 on Sundays run crew, also a Southside run crew, and Grocery Run Club. We were all out there cheering our all the runners on, as well as specifically ours. We got the confetti poppers out, and we just, really supportive. Like, we really, really, really enjoy supporting, cheering each other on, helping us reach those goals that we want to accomplish. Just everyday people wanting to run, do something crazy. Oh, let's just run. Let's run a marathon here. We also ran a lot of went out of town. So,
Yeah, so we actually led a few out-of-town races. We've done Milwaukee, Detroit, and recently Miami at the beginning of February. So we organized those as just away trips for our runners.
Yes.
And we had about at least 10, 11 people per trip.
Right.
So we're getting our folks out of the city, out of Chicago as well, and again having presence in other locations.
Yes.
And so, why do you think that run crews or run clubs have started to become so popular? I noticed maybe last year, year before last, that all of a sudden there were all these run clubs in Chicago.
I feel like it was always there, but it wasn't so much an attraction on social media. And I feel like it really started picking up when the pandemic was happening. So once people were finally able to get outside and move around, things still were closed, and people were just trying to find ways to just have community and to get exercise, because there was a time when we couldn't even go into the gym. They had closed the gym down. So folks were still running with masks and without. So I think that's what really happened. And then, everyone likes to go viral. So, you got a lot of different groups with their different videos and that. So.
And I think personally that, people are also looking at run groups and other fitness groups as a way to meet people and connect at the club. I mean, a lot of times you're wearing a lot of tight clothes, you're wearing a lot of things. So I think for most people, they kind of get a sense of, okay, if I'm looking for someone that also has an interest in fitness, I may be able to genuinely meet someone like that.
And that's not a bad idea.
Polite way of saying it. There's like a saying last summer: if you want to find your next boo, go to the run club.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a thing.
You might be able to find your boo. I mean, there's all ages, shapes, and sizes, ethnicities.
Yeah, it's a fashion thing now. So what you wear, the shoes that you wear, the different types of clothes. People put together running outfits. I know I do. Before races and all that stuff. So it's
all those
nice.
Get ready with me reels. Yes, it's a thing. Running is fun though. Where would we be without it? I don't know.
And what has it been like to highlight local businesses while you're running?
I would say I think it's refreshing. It makes me feel good. It really makes me feel good too, especially when I go into Carver 47. I know that these are black women running this restaurant, and it's pristine. Okay, the food is fresh. The professionalism is there, and it's on the south side of Chicago. I don't have to go to the north side. I love the north side. I love all the sides of Chicago, but I like that, and I can take pride in that as a black woman. And then we were even going to Grand Rising Cafe. That was also over on 79th Street. I know they had some mechanical issues last time we went, but we were there.
And even old-fashioned donuts, which is a staple in
yeah.
Roseland. So, and even for a lot of people who had maybe within our community never heard of these locations, just exposing a lot of these community staples to them as well has been really refreshing. And just saying, hey, we want to just show up with our crew. We want to patronize your business, but we also want to be able to just highlight that this is here and an establishment that the community relies on.
Because we love brunch. Okay, so if there's any like businesses that we can go to in the south side of Chicago and just run from and come back and have brunch, we are there.
Yeah, we're usually pretty hungry after the run.
And we will order.
And how does it feel for you all to just know that not only are you being healthy, but you're kind of like inspiring other people to want to get healthy?
How does it feel? It feels so good. We have a young lady, Chrissy. She comes so motivated and excited every single run to run, and you could just see the growth, like from starting run walk or running slower and building up those momentum. You just feel like it's kind of like someone who just blossoms and graduates on to the next step. So even if it's just one person, it's just, I like the way it feels. It's rewarding to see that.
Yeah, I feel like we had at least 5 or 6 people that finished their first marathon last year with us. And for me, I was like, I remember the moment that we were at my house talking about, are we going to start a run crew or not? And the fact that we did this, and because we did this, individuals who were like, oh, running a half is too much. Yeah. I'll never run a half marathon. And they run a half marathon. Then they're like, oh, the marathon, that's way too much. Then they run the actual marathon. Yeah. And it's like that moment wouldn't have been possible had we not created this and made that space for them to be able to do that. So for me, it's very rewarding that we can pass on what we've learned as runners and give that to others who are new, and even people who, because injuries happen, but people will still come even with the injury. They won't run, but they'll still come and just support just because they want to be around us and have that community with us.
Right.
And I can say for me that I've always been sort of what they would call like a middle of the pack runner. So I'm not too fast. I'm not necessarily bringing up the back, but I've always kind of been like a lone wolf, like in that middle of the pack space, which I think was okay for me when it came to shorter distances. But when you train for a marathon, you're like doing these long runs weekly where they're getting increasingly longer and longer, from 10 miles all the way up to 20, and being able to train with the crew over the summer during those long runs, like really just kind of like sustained me to even be able to, like, I think I did one by myself and it was like excruciating. And so even if, again, I'm still middle of the pack sometimes alone by myself, but it's like, there's somebody up ahead waiting for you or behind, and just being out there in community, knowing other folks are getting active with you, it helps to get through a lot of the mental blockages that you experience when you're training for a distance of that magnitude.
Yeah, and we really emphasize on not leaving anyone behind, and making sure that people have at least a partner, because it's about safety. It's about not giving someone a feeling that the crew left them and didn't have the courtesy enough to see how they were doing or checking on them. So we really want to make sure that people feel included when they run with us.
Yeah.
At all paces.
at all paces.
And what are some things that are coming up for On the Nine for this year?
We are doing, like I said, the distance series. So
Mhm.
we have the Shamrock Shuffle, we have the 13.1 half marathon, and the full Abbott Chicago Big of America marathon. We're also we're in the developmental stages of doing a walk to run program. So we're gonna have people sign up who have always wanted to run, but they just don't see how do I get started. It'll be free. We'll have like a 3-day-a-week type of ordeal. Well, they'll run with us on our weekly runs, and then they'll have to run alone. But that's the way I started running. I did it a few times a week, run, walk. So we do things like that.
We have the strength training coming up.
We have strength training.
So we have a strength
coming up.
training class. We partnered with a trainer who's going to provide a free strength training class.
Yes, Brookie of Trinity Fitness. She's also from the South Side, the Back of the Yards area, and she's going to provide us with a free strength training for runners on this coming Sunday on the 16th. And then we're going to also have some monthly strength trainings with one of our community members. She's also a personal trainer, so she'll be training us.
And during the summer, we'll have runs for Father's Day, Mother's Day, Juneteenth, Pride. We've done a couple of night runs as well when it gets warm. So we try to do our best to keep things interesting.
As well as a partnership with Nike. They did a Nike shoe trials with us.
Oh yeah, that'll happen in April.
We had that in April. We're going to do that again next month too. Nike shoe trials.
You mentioned that you were a nurse.
Yes.
How important is a person's diet when they decide that they want to start or join the running crew? The diet before the race and after?
So after they actually start the race, or
after they have
training?
ran a marathon. You mentioned that you're usually hungry after.
Yeah.
So how important? Do I go out and pick on a burger or just what are you?
Well, okay, so that's
for different folks.
yeah, definitely different strokes for different. It depends on your goals. So, like, let's say if you've been training for a marathon, more than likely you're going to be the lifestyle modification is what you're going to be looking at. So, if you do need a lifestyle modification, so you need to eat more on the clean side. There's certain foods that you should eat as a runner, which would be higher in carbs to get that protein in. There's various gels and things you have to take while running for energy, snacks that you could bring, nuts, things like that. We do go over that within our run community. But diet is extremely, extremely important for your heart. So cardio, running, that's what we're doing. So heart healthy, that's where it starts first. The doctors will always tell you, if you have a higher blood pressure, they would say, okay, what we want to start with first is what we call lifestyle modifications. So lifestyle modifications looks at your diet, eliminating canned foods. Those are high in sodium. You want to make sure you're eating lean meats, appropriate carbs. You don't have to get rid of them totally. And then just start out with moderate exercise, walking and running. But yeah, diet is very important. But we do throw down, I get me an avocado toast with some egg. That's what I like to eat after the run. Some people get pancakes, not too much. We don't not too much.
I found that you metabolize a lot quicker once you start getting into consistent running behavior. When I was training for the marathon, I felt like a 200-pound football player because I felt like I would eat and then be hungry a few hours later. So I had to do some modification, especially before my runs, and because I realized that when I fueled myself better, I was able to perform the race or the run better. And that, like you said, it's a lot of times front loading those carbs because that's what your body's gonna burn first. Tell me if I'm wrong. But that's correct.
And even in addition to diet, are you getting enough rest?
Yeah.
Are you stretching? That's a really big thing, so that way you're not cramping. Do you have the right shoes? Do you have the right clothes? In Chicago we have a lot of weather, so you don't want to be too hot if it's the summertime. You don't want to be too cold if it's the winter. your body is going to naturally warm up as you start to run. So you want to think about how you layer and just overall how you prepare, because once you're out there on the trail, you're out there, and you don't want to be running several miles and you had a big cheeseburger or some pizza and that thing is sitting on you like a rock and you have to run the rest of the way. So just being mindful of all the things that kind of help to make your run successful is important.
Where can people go to find out more about On the Nine Run Crew?
You can find us on Instagram at On the Nine Run Crew. We're right there. We post a monthly schedule of all of our runs for the month. You can reach out to us. You can certainly send us a message if you have any questions. All of our runs are free and open to the public and the community. Shay and I and Ashley are always there just to answer any questions. So please check us out and come run with us.
Also, our email is onthe9runcrew
At Gmail.
at gmail.com. Number 9.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like our audience to know?
I don't know. Don't be afraid to come run with us. If you maybe feeling a little bit intimidated, like I don't want to get left behind, I don't know if I have the right shoes, we'll help you.
Yeah, and we do offer a walk option. So
Walk.
yeah, for our Saturday runs, we start with a 2-mile community run or a 2-mile walk. And then we have an extended 3-mile after that for anyone that wants to continue to run. So a total of 5 miles. But again, it's all about whatever pace that you're at. You can let us know what you're comfortable with. And again, you can always start by walking with us. Because again, we want you to feel comfortable and not feel like, this isn't a space for you if you wanted to get into running.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Remember to tune in next week